want to start with the origin of your relationship and your company. So you guys met at USC, right? Where did the idea for Proximity come, and what was the mission for it when you started it?
That's such a great question. So under normal circumstances, it'll be three of us sitting here. We're going to talk about our partner, Zinzi Coogler, quite a bit. She's our partner and she's my wife. But it really started, there, man. Like, I went to the University of Southern California, School of Cinematic Arts. I started in 2008. Said, when did you come in, bro? Was it fall 2008?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started in the spring, and we met in the Robert Zemeckis Center for Digital Arts. It was basically like where we had our stages and we would rent equipment. And Seth was working in the front desk there. I was working in the equipment room. And before that, I found out I wanted to, make movies. And Zinzi Coogler, she was Zinzi Evans then, bought me my first Final Draft screenplay software. Helped me to start writing screenplays. I found out that Sev had already made a feature film before he even came to film school. If you want to talk about that first movie you made, bro.
Yeah, before I got to film school, I started making little YouTube videos poking fun of my Armenian parents out of love. At the time, today they would have been probably like TikTok videos, but these videos got really viral in the global Armenian population, so it led to me making a feature film on my dad's mini DV camera. I say this all the time, but I wrote it, I directed it, I shot it, I produced it, I did everything except for makeup, and then the makeup artist quit, so then I did that too. It's awful makeup. But that movie it was called My Big Fat Armenian Family, totally love letter to my people, and I had screened it locally in Glendale, and it had, it did really well with my community, and that empowered me to want to go to film school. It's where we met.
He said recently got the keys to the city in Glendale too.
I know, but he said he got nothing for it. Nothing. You can just tell people he has the key.
But so Zinzi she was doing sign language interpreting at Fresno State, but she was basically like auditing classes at SC. I was sneaking her into class all the time. So we got 2 degrees for the price of 1 technically. And Sev and I became friends. He started producing movies for a lot of my classmates. He got a big reputation as one of the top producers at the school. So we always wanted to work together. And I got the opportunity to make my first feature film, shortly after I graduated. I was Fruitville Station. And we made it back in Oakland. Zinz was kind of like, we were living together. We just got our apartment. She was on set every day, leaving her day job. And Sev actually came up and produced that film for us. So it was a fantastic start to our relationship. After that, we kind of went our separate ways. I made a movie called Creed after. And it had a lot of, Creed had a lot of big
Boxing
time.
fans.
Yeah. Creed had a lot of storied producers on there, like Sylvester Stallone and Erwin Winkler, Kevin King Templeton, and I tried to get my buddy on. I tried to get Sev out there to help, but we weren't able to make that happen. So made Creed, and then I got the opportunity to work on Black Panther. At the same time, Sevak was making movies with a young man named Anish Chaganty, and they made a film that was all on screens called Search. That ended up getting acquired and becoming Searching. Won a couple of awards at Sundance.
Sun show.
Yeah. And right around that same time, a good friend of ours, Charles King, who was my manager, he was just really hard on me and Zinzi to start a company. He was like, you guys got to do it. Now's the time. I was pulling my hair out trying to finish a Marvel movie. I thought he was crazy. But we took his advice, and Zinzi and I sat down and coming up with the concept for the company, we kind of said, hey, the only way we would do this is if we could have Sev come join it with us. We can kind of reunite the team that worked on Fruitville together. And Sev and Anish came to screen Searching at...
And Natalie
Kasabian, who's Sev's wife and an incredible producer in her own right. They all came up to screen Searching at the Castro Theater in San Francisco. I think I might have opened the San Francisco Film Festival. Mm-hmm. And we kind of sat Sev down in San Francisco, me and Zinz, and pitched him on Proximity, and thankfully he said yes. So that's kind of the game.
Yeah. And what a lot of filmmakers, actors, talent, when they create their own company, and I think this is especially tricky for directors, it can be hard to have the company be more than just like Ryan Coogler movies. So how do you approach it? How have you tried to diversify? And do you have models that you look after, or other filmmakers who you think have done that well?
That's such a great question. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, for us, it kind of worked out because, you know, Black Panther 2 wasn't a proximity movie. We actually started the company like right before the pandemic kicked off in late 2018. And our first 3 movies that we made, I didn't direct them. You know, it was a crash course in producing. You know, we did Space Jam: A New Legacy, we did Judas and the Black Messiah, and then we did Creed 3, which was Michael B. Jordan's directing debut. You know, so it was really a great opportunity for us to kind of show to the marketplace that, you know, the proximity wasn't just about movies that I wrote and directed. We actually had a chance to put, you know, three out that I didn't write and direct. You know, so I don't know if you want to talk.
No, I mean, as a matter of fact, we've made a number of movies, a lot of shows now, documentaries, and only one of our projects has been, you know, a Ryan Coogler directed film. So, like Ryan said, right out the gate, we had Judas and the Black Messiah. That was a film that honestly was one of the reasons we were sparked to starting the company. We realized that there was an opportunity here to help support an incredible filmmaker, Shaka King, and getting that movie made. And I think Judas is a good example. Like a lot of the projects that we make, the ones that Ryan directs are not necessarily films that on paper seem like obvious hits or sure things. And I think having that be our first film really as a company, I think it helps set the tone for what we were trying to do.
Both, correct me if I'm wrong, both Space Jam and Judas and the Black Messiah sort of came out into COVID. And Judas was part of the whole Warner Brothers experiment where it was on streaming and theaters at the same time. I forget, Space Jam was too?
It was too, yeah.
Did you feel like, and I realize pandemic skews all of this a little bit, but
yeah.
Having had movies come out in all different ways, do you feel like having it drop in theaters and streaming at the same time was a different experience as a producer, as a filmmaker? Did it have any more or less of a cultural impact?
Man, that's such a great question, man. It was our first time doing it, you know, so, and you got to remember, man, people were dying, bro. Like, it was everything was shut down. You know, I remember talking with Malika Andrews. She was talking about going into the COVID bubble to
basketball.
Go. Yeah, like,
yeah.
You know, like the NBA wasn't, like nothing was happening. We didn't even know if our careers would exist anymore, to be honest. So when we found out on both films that was what was happening, you know, we called both filmmakers. Malcolm D. Lee on Space Jam and Shaka King on Judas. And I remember, you know, Shaka, God bless him, he was caretaking for his parents, trying to keep them, because they were elderly, trying to keep them from getting sick. He was in the heart of New York when New York was going through all that they were going through while he was trying to finish the movie. And he was just happy that people were going to see it. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of his reaction. You know, looking back on it, the world was going through a lot. We were blessed to have the opportunity to have Creed 3 come out, you know, theatrically with Amazon MGM. You know, and there is a difference, you know, when folks have a chance to see the film in theaters and it gets to be a moment before it actually goes to the streaming space, you know. But at that time, you know, we were just getting started, and it was kind of happening to so many different films and filmmakers, you know. It was kind of just what it was, you know.
Yeah. I'm curious on that. Have you ever thought about, or would you make a movie for a streaming service? Would you make a Netflix movie?
Man, that's a great question.
I mean, I'm waiting for one where I ask and you go, that was a shitty question.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you're good at your job, bro. Like, this is actually the first time anybody's ever asked me that. You know, I'm not here to say what I would and wouldn't do in the future. You know, but the theatrical experience is one that means a great deal to me. It means a great deal to us. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, like, I think that I feel a certain responsibility. Like, if Fruitville had happened a calendar year later, it probably would have come out on streaming. You know, I've been fortunate enough that everything that I've written and directed has been a theatrical release. So I feel a duty to try to protect that. You know, but that's where I'm at today.
Yeah, that theatrical experience triggered. We were talking with Mike and Pam earlier about that video that you made related to Kodak before Sinners came out, which sort of went viral on the internet. Mm-hmm. How did that come about, and why do you think that resonated with people so much? Probably a lot of people who have no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it came about from just conversations with us, you know, internally. One thing that I thought it made sense to do was to let audiences know why we shot the film the way that we did. Let audiences know that it was a unique thing that hadn't happened before. In this day and age, everybody's fighting for everybody's attention, you know, and it's a lot of really compelling things that anybody can find on their phone, on their news feed. There's so much happening in the world. There's so many talented creators. I saw y'all had Twitch streamers on here, and all of that stuff is incredibly compelling and addictive. And people need a reason, to hire the babysitter, to make the date and to go out and stand in line and go, and for us, we felt that we should put it all out there for folks. We never in a million years, like Zinzi and Sev were there with me. That's actually Zinzi's handwriting on the whiteboard, because my handwriting is chicken scratch. You know what I'm saying? But they were right there that day. We all worked on it, and Warner Brothers was incredibly supportive with the video. Gave us their BTS team to shoot it and stuff. We never thought that millions of people would see it. We were hoping that we would be happy with a few thousand. You know what I mean? Like people who were really interested in film projection and interested in the theatrical experience. But it really took off in a way we couldn't have imagined.
A related question, because I see from the audience, how important do you think premium formats are to the future of movies?
You want to take that one, bro?
I mean, incredibly. I think with Sinners, it was, we were going for an event film with that movie. And it's not the type of film, again, that on paper necessarily seems like it's going to be what it's going to go for. But Ryan always had his vision. Major credit to Warner Brothers. Mike and Pam were here earlier today. They really supported us. Jesse Ehrman was an executive at Warner Brothers who asked us the question early on, is this a large format film? And we thought about it. We were like, absolutely. So like Ryan said, I remember we were in the edit and Ryan was saying, like, man, like, we got to find a way to like let people know. And I think that video that we put together really established that. And I think you see it, and even in the months since, it's been warming my heart to see so many other films embrace the idea that there's really other ways you can see films, that theater exhibitors have embraced it as well. To me, certainly you need, like Ryan said, excuses to go see movies, and one of the things that only cinema-going experience can give you is the large format experience, so certainly.
When can you tell, I guess, two related questions. When you have a new movie coming out, do you guys have a routine as to what you do? Like, are you the type of people who are going to show up at random theaters and sit in the back?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like, for us, we got, like, none of us came from the filmmaking industry. Seva's first generation, Zinzi's first generation on our mom's side. We had no connections in the business. We got into this because we love sitting in theaters and watching movies. We love going to Blockbuster and getting the family together and watching. We really love that experience. And that was why we went hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. You know what I'm saying? Like going to graduate school to get a job where the success rate is very low. It's why we both parents. You know what I mean? Like I said, Zinzi's on maternity leave right now, and this job takes so much time. But we love that experience, and for us, we want to give the audience the experiences that we had when we were watching the films that made us want to get into the business. So we absolutely. Pop up at random screenings and
I proposed to my wife in a movie theater. Hollywood ArcLight, rest in peace, of course, right now.
It's going to come back.
Man, knock on some wood, bro.
But
that's 10.
Like, absolutely nothing changes and shapes culture, in my opinion, than a movie that sweeps across the country and the globe. Like, I think, again, Sinners, we worked so hard on that film, everyone who worked on that movie, and we knew we had a great movie, of course, but you just never know what's going to spark. And I think the evidence of all the people who showed up multiple times and they dragged their families. We had somebody on our team at Proximity, one of our interns, I think, who was saying that their grandparents had never been in a movie theater in all the time they were in America, and they went to see Sinners. And again, that's something that I love watching streaming movies, of course, and we've all made movies all over the place, but in America today, a movie in theaters is what's going to spark culture, in my opinion.
And how do you guys know? I sound for a second like we're going to get some applause. How do you guys? What do you use to judge if it's working? Like, are you waiting on the box office estimates that you get from the studio? Are you looking on social? Is it the number of people who call you?
You mean like if it's working as a
commercially? Like I assume that by the time you are done with a movie, you know if you feel like you did a good job or not. But you don't know if it's going to work until it comes out.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, it's such a tricky game, man. Like, because you got a lot of people that know a lot, but at the same time, nobody knows anything. And so you got to kind of keep yourself. Honest that way. We like to use all of the tools that are available to us, and we all got different approaches. You know what I mean? Like we all are in different spaces, it helps to how our company it got a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different types of people. We recently brought on Tara Potts, who's a big time marketing executive at Warner Brothers for a long time, and she's on the team. She was on our team with the film coming out, and it's any and everything, man. Like, and that movie, it was like an existential thing for us as a company. It was a proof of concept. Even though we had made a lot of movies before, we made a lot of television before, we kind of had everything riding on it. So we were checking everything, man, and working all the way up to the last second before it came out, and it kind of still feels that way a little bit.
Totally. I mean, from the moment I knew that it was like a sure thing was my mom goes to the YMCA, and she has a proximity sweater that she stole from me once. And she said that people stopped her and asked her, like, where could you buy that sweater? Because they love Sinner so much. And it was, like, incredible that our company's title had now reached that level of recognition. So to me, that is the mom YMCA metric is always going to be the absolute highest that I'm going to go for.
Okay, we're talking about success. You, as a director, pretty much everything you've touched has worked. Commercially, critically, usually both. What do you consider your biggest failure? This is another audience question in your career up until this point for both of you.
As a director?
Or as a producer, or as an executive, whatever, but in business, not in your personal life.
Yeah, I'll I mean, I would say anytime something doesn't work out, you know what I mean? Like if you have to have a difficult conversation about something not working out creatively or in another way, when you got to part ways with folks, and you in a position of leadership. For me, I always a place to blame on myself there. And we haven't had to have a lot of those conversations. But
you guys cut some staff this year, right? Why did that happen? I
mean, it was going through transition. You know what I mean? The whole industry's in a place of transition. Our company was no different. A few contracts were up. We had to make some decisions about where we were going forward. And like I said, we were able to bring on incredible marketing executive in Tara Potts. She's doing some operations and strategic things for us as well. But I think it's it's kind of signs of growth for the company.
Other than producing movies, is there one of those other areas, whether it's TV, docs, music, like podcasts, that you feel like is the biggest opportunity or where you're most invested?
I mean, we've had a really great year this year, honestly. Beyond Sinners, we had 3 television projects air. We had Ironheart, that was a live-action event show with Marvel that debuted, I think, Nielsen top 10 for 3 weeks straight. We had Eyes of Wakanda, an animated show, very great reception, great critical reception, and we had a phenomenal docuseries called Hurricane Katrina: Race Against Time, which I believe we've been told it's the #1 Nat Geo streaming project ever. I think that really speaks to the breadth of what we're trying to do, and I think 2 things specifically to take away is one is the range of mediums that we like to play in. It's beyond the theatrical movie, it's the live action, the animated, the docuseries. And I think it speaks to the range of audience members that we always try and reach. Specifically, we got Marvel fans, families and animation lovers, and folks that like, grounded, socially conscious documentaries. For us, that is obviously creatively fulfilling, but it's also a strategy for us to always be adaptable in this ever-changing market.
I'm just curious, Bloomberg, there's some people with some money probably here or watching. Have you guys ever thought about raising outside money for proximity?
We've thought about it, but we plan to be in the business for a long time. And right now we've been able to have some incredible partnerships, where we didn't have to go and take on outside funding. But it might be a time and place in the future where that becomes a reality.
Yeah. There's been a lot of discussion over the last few years about the health of the movie business. You talked earlier in talking about some of the changes at your company about what's happening in Hollywood. How are you feeling about the health of the movie business? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? What gives you some hope?
I mean, look, man, the industry is certainly changing. It's always changing. Some of these changes are causing it to be challenging times for all of us. But candidly speaking, all we've ever known is challenging times. Ryan mentioned we went to USC. Do you guys remember what year that was?
2008.
2008, right during that Great Recession. In the 7 years that our company's been around, we've had the WGA-ATA dispute. We've had COVID, the shutdowns. We had a writer's strike, actor strike, some of the slowdown that we've all felt the last couple years. During all that time, we've continued to work. I think we've continued to deliver. We've had, movies that won Oscars, movies that been #1 in the theaters. We've, show after show. So, candidly speaking, like, I wish I was making movies in the 90s. I heard it was amazing.
I was watching them.
We were definitely watching them, but man, like, this is all we know, and it's not slowing us down whatsoever.
I'm incredibly optimistic. It helped to have been working at Warner Brothers this past year with under Pam and Mike's leadership, but just seeing like the quality of movies that they turn out and the audience response, and the stratification of it, the horror movie, the comedy, the video game adaptation, and I had a chance to go to Telluride for a couple of days and watch like 5 movies in a day and a half, and I'm incredibly optimistic. Sev and I, we went to SC, but we also came up through the Sundance feature film program. Big rest in peace to Robert Redford.
Fruitvale was at Sundance, right?
It was. It came through the Sundance feature film program. The year that I was there, Chloe Zhao was there, Marielle Heller, David Lowery, Jonas Carpinago. I was there with like the future of American filmmaking. I didn't know it, at the time. But I talk to Michelle Satter, all the time. She's always telling us about new projects that are coming through. So I'm incredibly optimistic.
Was there one of those movies you saw at Telluride that really spoke to you, that the audience should look out for?
I mean, I'm biased, right? Because the year I was at the Sundance Feature Film Lab, Chloe was there, and Joachim Trier was our advisor. So I'm biased towards their movies. I'm gonna love anything they make. Obviously, Sentimental Value and Hamnet kind of rocked my world. But I saw The Secret Agent, a Brazilian film that was quite masterful. I saw the new Edward Berger film, Ballad of a Small Player. Loved that. Loved Colin Farrell's performance in that. And I saw the Springsteen film, which was awesome. I saw Begonia, which was fantastic. A lot of reasons for optimism.
You mentioned the 90s, and I'm curious, the Criterion Closet video you did, Ryan, you talked about directors being in dialogue. You talked about John Singleton and Spike Lee being in dialogue in kind of late 80s, early 90s. I think you talked about Kurosawa and Ozu. Is there a filmmaker that you feel like you're in dialogue with now?
Fuck, you ask good questions. Jesus Christ. Look, man, I went to a DGA meeting, and I'm a member of DGA. We're both members of WGA. I think we're members of the PGA, kind of.
I would assume you're members of the PGA.
Yeah. But I sat between Chris Nolan and Michael Mann all night. I had never met Michael Mann before.
Legends, yeah.
And it was such an honor, and I knew from watching their work that Michael had influenced Chris. So I was speculating that they had some type of creative relationship, but to see how much they know each other and root for each other was fantastic. I mean, I think like for me, I think my work is definitely in conversation with a lot of folks my age, with Chloe and Jonas and David, and cultural conversation with Barry for sure. I feel honored to be making movies at the same time as him. I feel a similar way about Ava as well, You
mentioned Nolan. You've spoken openly about him as sort of a mentor, someone you turn to. What is some of the best advice he's given you?
Oh my God, he's a wealth of it. He gave me a lot of advice I wouldn't repeat here. But I think the biggest thing is just like leading by example. Zinzi and I get to spend a lot of time with him and Emma. Sev and Natalie Kasabian work together. It's just a great example of how to work with the smartest person in your life. A lot of times, you're fortunate enough to be married to that person, and how to build a family, while at the same time finding a way to give to cinema, and give to the business. So all of his advice on that, just kind of making a life for yourself.
Did that help you? Because you both sort of went from making these really small kind of indie movies to then like the biggest movies ever. And you did that super fast, right? You went from Fruitvale, which cost, you could tell me, I don't know, almost nothing, to...
Just under $1 million?
Yeah, I think our budget said almost nothing, actually. Yeah.
To then Creed and Black Panther, I'm assuming was...
Creed was, somewhere between 35 and 38. Panther 1, somewhere between 185 and 2. So it was a stair step.
Yeah.
I sought a lot of advice from him. But I've been fortunate. I got Spike's a mentor. John Singleton, rest in peace, was a mentor. I've been blessed to have been looked after well.
I could sit here with you guys for a long time, but we ran out of time a little bit ago. I want to do 2 quick questions. Sinners, horror movie. Is there another genre that you haven't done that you guys really want to work in?
Man, all of them, bro. Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about doing a comedy, man. Like a really fun, laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Please do. We need more of them.
Yeah. I love all of the genres. I love every, making Sinners, it was really interesting because I realized the value of genre, but I also realized more than anything, genre is a construct, It's a way to communicate to audiences when you're selling your thing, when you're packaging your thing. But once you got them sitting there watching the movie, listening to the music, watching the TV show, you can throw it away, and what they fall in love with is how the thing makes them feel,
Okay, I feel like you're not going to like my last question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
It's all good.
Would you rather have a movie gross $1 billion or win Best Picture?
You asking me that question?
Yeah, you've had a movie gross $1 billion, so you kind of know, and you might have a movie win Best Picture.
Oh my God. I don't know how to answer that, Lucas.
Is that a good question?
Yeah.
Is that one a good question?
He's asked better ones.
Yeah.
I mean, look. Making movies is incredibly hard. It's incredibly difficult. I've been blessed to have the opportunity to do this. I come from Oakland, California. You know what I mean? Like I said, nobody in my family was in the business. So and I think it's one of the most incredible jobs in the world to have. So I feel blessed. I feel like I won an award every day I step on a set and we get to call action, and we get to rap and then come back the next day. So I'm the wrong person to ask if one incredible thing, a movie making $1 billion, which in a capitalistic way is nice, but in a cultural way, that means a lot of people went to go see the movie in the theater. Or that, I don't know how many people are in the Academy, 6,000, it's a very elite club that they thinking about your movie enough to say, hey, I like this enough to vote for it. That's right. Both of those things are incredible, so I wouldn't want to compare them,